I think for students it's important to do, if they want to be perfumer, to read books that also can help them to understand aestheticism in general.
Hi, and welcome to How I Became a Perfumer podcast. In each episode, we explore the different roles in the flavor and fragrance industry, as well as talk to founders of independent projects. My name is Tanya Mironova. I'm a career coach dedicated to helping you sniff out the best opportunities and inspiring you to create your own projects. My guest for today's episode is a perfumer, Camille Leguay. Camille, welcome to the show.
Hello, thank you. And thank you to inviting me, Tanya.
Well, I'm very happy to have you. And thanks to you, we're going to be having a little bit special format of the interview today, at least in the start. Camille shared with me her bio, and, I really liked it. And I thought, let's make it in the following way. I will be reading some pieces of it and ask Camille to comment.
Okay.
Because actually, I have questions just based on what you've said. There are so many interesting things there. And afterwards, we will proceed to the second part, talking about one very interesting organization, or société, I guess, in French, Cinquieme Sens. And if you're wondering what's that, just bear with us and you will find it out soon. So, Camille Leguay has been passionate about scents and perfumes since a young age. At the age of 14, she discovered that it could be a profession and knew that it was what she wanted to do with her life. It's a very strong sentence.
Yes.
First of all, because you've discovered it as a profession at the age of 14, which never happens to many people. I mean, some people discover it never, really. Maybe at the age of 30, somebody thinks like, oh, wow, who made this perfume I'm using daily, or something like that. And you discovered it pretty early and realized that it is something you really want to devote your life, basically.
Yes.
So how did it happen?
Actually, it's because I was always smelling everything, everywhere. When I enter in a room, I said to the people around me, oh, that smell like that smell like this. Or if a friend of my mother came to the house during the day when I came back from school, I recognize the perfume of the friend of my mother, and I say, oh, Agnes has been here today. So I was very conscious of all the scents around me from very little. And I was passionate. I collect a lot of perfumes, miniatures, advertising on magazine. I had also some pins. I don't know if you remember the pins. It was the thing that you put on your clothes. And there is
also another word, I guess, broche for that.
Yes, broche, maybe, yes.
Uh-huh.
And you have songs with bottles of perfumes. And so I love it. And one day when I was 14, a friend of my parents, who was also a neighbor, came to me and said to me, I saw that you like to smell everything. And I have some, there is some people, they are doing that. They are doing this job, and we call them perfumers. And I say, oh, really? Because I haven't never imagined that there is someone behind all the perfumes. And and she brought me a flyer of IFIPCA school, because when she was younger, she loved to study perfume, and she didn't do it. And so she kept the flyer, and she gave me this flyer, so a very old flyer from the 80s. And she said me, you can do this school maybe if you want to do a perfumer. And so for me, it was like a revelation, and I say, okay, that's what I want to do. And so I focus on my studies to have access to this school. Yes.
That's very interesting. When you're saying all that, I feel like, and maybe you have the same feeling that it was a sign, like a lot of signs,
Yes,
because
yes,
your friend knows that somebody was keeping a brochure, like basically had been keeping
yeah,
this brochure for you, like since 80s. I don't know.
yes, yes. It was like you know what, you have some encounters or some
Yeah.
as you say, some signs that guide you in the right way.
Yeah, that's perfect. But basically, you've just been yourself, and the opportunities presented themselves. I like it. And yeah, you've answered the question about the school, about the SIPCA, how you discovered it. Because again, I know that even today, like when we have the internet and everything, people still struggle finding the schools to study. How did you feel, if you remember, when you entered the school?
It was a release, and actually it was a struggle for me too, because I studied chemistry. I didn't like at all chemistry, so it was quite difficult for me. And actually, I did the exams for the SIPCA,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't have it. And I because of the olfactive test, so it was for me awful, because okay, so I don't
Yeah.
smell. I'm not able to smell, and actually, it's because during the test I was very emotional, and so my nose, I couldn't I couldn't how to say that, guess the test, the smells
Mm-hmm.
that we
Mm-hmm.
gave us, because I was too emotional, too stressed,
Yeah.
and so I
Oh,
failed the exam.
wonderful.
And so it was horrible for me, and I continue at the university in chemistry, general chemistry university, and I also asked to another university that we call Le Havre. It's in the north of France, and they have a specific class for perfumes, also for in analytical chemistry of perfumes. And so it was my second option. And I was at this moment, so I failed the SIPCA, and I was at this moment in the waiting list to enter in Le Havre. So I was not also accepted in Le Havre University. And so this period during 3 months was horrible for me, because I start chemistry, general chemistry, and I was saying, okay, what I'm going to do in my life? I cannot, I'm not accepted anywhere in perfume university, so I cannot do I cannot make my dream. And during all the summertime before the back to school, I I called the Le Havre University every week to ask them if there is someone who not going to come in
Uh-huh.
September, and
Uh-huh.
if there is a place that release for me. And she said no, 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 no. And in October, when the first day of Le Havre start, she called me. I already start my general chemistry university, and she called me and she said, okay, someone today didn't come at school. As you called me during all the summer, I know you are motivated. She told me, you don't have the level in chemistry, but I know you are motivated, and I know that you can come in 10 days. If you are not here in the next 10 days, I not accept you. And so in 10 days, I changed my life. I was living
Yeah,
in
because you
Marseille.
lived in the south of
Yes, I
France,
was living
didn't
in
you? Yeah.
Marseille actually at this
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah.
And so Marseille is the south of France, and Le Havre is the north of France. So I packed my stuff. I didn't have apartments, nothing. And I came in 10 days in Le Havre to start my university in Le Havre. So this was a big moment for me, very, very in my life. And after I studied 2 years in Le Havre for analytical chemistry. And
Uh-huh.
at the end of Le Havre University, I could also enter in the third year of ISIPCA. And so because some students of ISIPCA at this epoch didn't do the 3 years, but only 2 years. So some place was released like 3 or 5 free places. And so I've been accepted at this moment. So the last year of my study has been at the ISIPCA. So finally, I struggled a lot, but finally I reached my goal. So I was very happy.
Oh, well, yeah, I could feel it because, I had a similar story with my studies, but it's a different one. However, the points which you mentioned, like those are so tasty, I would say, because you didn't like analytical chemistry, but you just did it.
Yes.
Then also, maybe I will be a very stereotypic right now, but I know that for the French people moving from the south to the north of the country,
yes,
it's just from the movies. I'm not thinking it out, but like one of the movies with Danny Boone. I will leave the link to it. Yeah, you know which one I'm talking about.
Yes.
Yes, exactly. So I will definitely leave a link. For people who live in France, it's a very big thing to move to the north, actually. And I know you're saying like you struggled basically twice. And then you were finally entering the ISIPCA. I believe it was a revelation for you. You really felt, finally.
Finally, yes. So the message I want to say is never give up.
Yeah,
never give up.
Perfect. Yeah. I mean, especially in your profession.
Yes, very important.
Yeah. I will continue reading because there are a few more pieces I wanted to focus on. The one about your career after you obtained the diploma. Because now you are totally qualified for basically any job in the industry. I mean, like with the analytical chemistry background and the ISIPCA. So after obtaining her diploma, Camille started working as a perfumer's assistant at the fragrance house month.
Yes.
Where she refined her skills, and then she got an opportunity to work in Mexico and Chile, where she was able to use her expertise to serve local clients.
Yes.
And if maybe today, again, for somebody, it sounds like, oh, well, let us go to Mexico and Chile. Like young perfumers today are more open, I believe, to moving around the world just because they know that there are just few places to work. I mean, the competition is maybe even higher than it was a few years ago when you've started. So what it was for you to move to Mexico? I mean, again, like you've been already to the north of France because of the perfumery thing. Now you're moving to Mexico.
Yes. Actually, there is two things. Yes, you're right. When you're just you're young student and you just finish your university of perfumery, it's very hard to have to be a perfumer, and so it's very competitive. And so everybody suggests you to go to live in a foreign country because in foreign country, French perfumer are more
appreciated.
Yeah.
And also you're the sign of quality.
Exactly. And so I had this opportunity from a man. I was a perfumer assistant in Paris. And at the beginning, I wanted to live outside. My dream was to live in New York, in US. And I met the director of Man New York, and he didn't have a job for me in New York. And he said, but in Mexico and Chile, they are looking for someone, and so you can apply. And so actually I applied for Chile in Santiago, and I passed 3 months in Mexico with the perfumers because the plant is in Mexico for all Latin America. So I passed 3 months for training in Mexico, and after I lived in Santiago during 1 year.
Mm-hmm. And how did you feel?
How I feel. I was very happy because I wanted to have this experience. I love travel. I moved a lot when I was young, and so for me it was not so complicated for me to go in another country. I love to mix also with other cultures. So it was very, very, I love it. The only thing is was very too far. Especially Santiago, it's 13 hours of planes from France. So it was not so easy. When it's not the same thing when something bad happened in your life, for example, you are a little stressed or something like that. In one weekend, you can go in France, you can leave and go in one weekend to see your parents or your friends. But when you are in Chile, you can do in one weekend to take the plane and to go to see your parents or your friends. So for me, the distance was the most difficult things to manage. After the countries, I love it. It's both countries, Mexico and Chile, and people there are very welcoming.
What applications did you work with mostly?
So I worked as evaluator and perfumer at the same time. So the
Wow.
evaluator, it's another kind of job that you have in perfumery industry. That you are evaluating the formulas of the perfumers to be on the right way for the clients. So every country, they have their own test. So when I arrived, I need to understand the test of Chilean markets. So I passed a lot of time in supermarkets, in shops to smell everything, and I worked on different application like cosmetics, shampoo, cream, fine fragrance. So I needed to very know well the market to respond and to answer to the wish of the clients.
Yeah. But was it hard to leave the region after, like, as you say, in a year and a few months, when you've just digged in and really delved into all these aspects, started understanding the market very well, and then I believe it was your decision probably to move back to the European continent at least.
Yes. Yes, it was my wish because it was too far for me. So I wanted to come back. So I quit my job and I came back in France without job. And at this time, I was looking for a job in France, and when I was in Chile. And I meet Isabelle Ferrand from Cinquieme Sens in Visio. So we do a lot of Visio today by Skype, but at this epoch it was not so obvious. And she was looking for someone, for a trainer and perfumer at our company. And the only thing that was not good is she wanted to meet me in person, and I was in Chile, and so finally she didn't accept me as a job, and so never mind. I quit my job. I came back to France, and 6 months later she called me again, and she said, "Okay, I'm looking for again a new person. Did you came back in France?" And I said yes. I meet her in person, and it matched very well, and so on. So it was a very nice encounter also.
You know, what I really like, there are so many, when I talk to you, there are so many parallels between my first job, because I started as a diplomat, you know, back 10 years ago. And the thing is that for a lot of people, it's a very big struggle because they are literally sent to work to countries which are very far from their homeland, let's say to Africa or to Australia or to Latin America. And they literally struggle for a year or two, basically, most of them.
Yes.
And, you know, even in the system, everyone understands that sending somebody very far means that this person very likely will be back in a very short amount of time, because it's very, very hard. So this is something I wanted to point out, not because of your experience, but because of, as you've said, young people now have the same issue. They will have to consider opportunities, which may be in a very remote countries, not in the European continent, not even like within any I don't know, like any manageable reach.
Yeah.
And you really need to consider this thing. I mean, like, you as a listener, if it's something you're planning to have in your life, you really need to consider that it is a very big struggle.
Yes.
And don't, like, okay, I shouldn't be saying don't, and I shouldn't be saying shouldn't, but I've said already both of them. Just be sure that there is nothing right or wrong if you decide to spend some time in a different region and then maybe return and maybe look for other opportunities, as in your case.
You're right. You're right, because it was, as you say, it was a very big question to say, okay, no, I need to stay. It's only 1 year. I cannot. You have some kind of loyalty. A company trusts you to come in a country, and so you have some kind of loyalty and say, okay, I cannot quit like that in 1 year. And finally, I said, okay, no, it's not good for me. I'm not.
No.
I'm not. I struggled too much, so I accept that. But at the beginning, it was very big question for me to stay or to go back in France, and because I was considering that like a failure, and finally, today I see that like a very, very nice experience. I speak Spanish, so I'm also I am also happy for that. I meet some very, very kind people. I met, very kind people. But you don't have to, you're right, it's not a failure if you come back in France or in Europe, in your country. Just see that like a very nice experience with a lot of rich experience, and it's also good to have this and to go back also.
Exactly. And also in your case, and we will proceed to that, one door was closed, another door opened.
When the door is closed, you can still have the windows open.
Right. And so I really like the way you described the current company you do trainings for, I mean, the Cinquieme Sens. And I really liked that you used the French way of describing it, human-sized company. Because I believe in French, it's entreprise de taille humaine.
Yes.
Yes. The idea is that this is the company where you could at least understand the amount of people work there.
Yes.
It's not the scale of a company where you really never met all of the employees.
Yes. Yes. Because my previous experience before Cinquieme Sens was in L'Oréal and in Man, and so it was a very big company, and also it's perfumery industry. You know, really the term of industry. And with this kind of job, I lose a little of my light of flame because I am passionate of perfume, and sometimes I realize that people who I deal with was not so passionate and was maybe focused on their career, and so it's okay. Yeah. But I lose a little of my light because of this, and so I wanted to work in a human-sized company. And Cinquieme Sens was perfect because as it's also a training company, there is a very this sense of transmit our passion. And so I still do it. And when I train people, it's it's like I am connected with my lights, with my flame, because there is always a very nice encounters, exchange with people who are wanted to learn about perfume, because they they are very happy to be here and to learn a lot of things. Yes,
Yeah.
and I love it.
I just wanted to add to that behind Camille, I could look at the picture, and we've discussed it during the sound check, that it's just one of the students of the school, basically trainees. He just drew a picture, and it's beautiful. I love the colors, and it's Chanel number 5, the very, very old edition. Looks wonderful, and yeah, it's really very, it speaks passion.
Yes.
From a person. And when I listen to you, I try to, like, my brain right now tries to think about this important issue of when the size of the company start stopping it from keeping this integrity.
I don't know for how many people you can say it's not human size.
But just my mind is wandering around that. So when do we lose it? Anyways, let's return to Cinquieme Sens. I wanted to ask you a little bit about some of the aspects of your work, because as you said, it's a training organization which has representations in many countries.
Yes.
I believe. Also passionate people opening passionate people offices.
Yes.
And having trainings. You don't know that, but I personally was very lucky to participate a little bit in the activities of Cinquieme Sens back in Grasse at Péchannet.
Yes.
Yeah, with Claire Lambeau. She's amazing. And also the training, I really liked it. It was very different from the trainings I had previously in my university, in also the Perfumery school. If you could say a little bit, what are these trainings for you? And maybe why do you find them special?
Personally, as a trainer, I find them special because I have the impression to be myself a student. Because it's very I give I transmit, I give information, training to people, but also they give me a lot, and so this is very special. And I feel the way I when I studied, when you discover things and everything is new, and so I try when I train to do this to give the same. And I would say specifically in Cinquième Sens, when we train, we like to do some games. So it's very it's very playful. We prepare the training, and the people smell in blind, so they don't know what they are smelling, and so they are not influenced by some things that they can think about a smell. And this kind of games, I love this, because you can have very nice surprises.
It's indeed, I confirm that. We will not be sharing the details, but actually it's a very cool self-exploration. I also wanted to ask you about a very interesting activity which Cinquieme Sens has. It's a co-working space.
Yes.
Could you please tell us a little bit on that?
Yes.
Because I find it amazing. I think you're the only one who have it.
Yes, we start to think about that a few years ago, because we had the opportunity to have an office, to extend our office. And so it's a place that at the same time help us to, as a trainer, to give a formulation class to students. And when it's free, it's a co-working lab. So you have some students or some independent perfumers that can come. They rent their desk. So they have the desk of a perfumer with all the flasks. And they come and they have a scale, and they can come formulate. So it's like they have their own lab, and so they can rent hours to formulate their perfumes. And we give some also consulting and advice. So we can as perfumer, they can also have a consulting of us about their fragrance, some advice. And specifically, we can also look at their regulation formula in general.
Well, that sounds perfect because it's on the one hand, it's a very big degree of freedom. You could work on your own, but then you need a mentor, and the mentor is basically next door.
Yeah.
That's perfect. Because actually, I've been considering it for myself when I lived in the Netherlands. I was thinking, oh, now I have the idea I want to explore.
Yes.
And maybe I will just take a train
Yeah.
and come to Paris for a few hours just to explore this idea, because I didn't have raw materials, I didn't have all this lab at home, and also people who are in the industry, they understand that it's not that easy to have a lab at home.
No, yes, it's not easy. After for the people who want to go to this place, a co-working lab, we do a test to know if they are able to formulate and to weigh a formula and to do dilution, etc. We test their skills to be able to be autonomous in the laboratory. And it's something. Yes, you say it's not so easy to work alone. Even if you are a perfumer, because we imagine the perfumer behind the computer writing his formula, but the process of creation is a long process. But you have to share, so it's important to also have some advice from other person. And it's what is very specific in Cinquieme Sens that I haven't seen in other company is we are 5 perfumers and we share a lot. There is no competition between us. If I have a question about, they evaluate my fragrance and they help me to perfect my formula, and I do the same. Sometimes I show my formula because in other companies sometimes the formula it's considered as very secret, and perfumers, they don't like to share their formula to the others, and here we show the formulas to the user if we want, and if we feel comfortable with that, and it's very helpful, actually.
It's one of the big pluses of the human-sized company, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. I like the ideas and really like Cinquieme Sens' approaches on that. Just a few more questions about the organization, and I know that you also have an olfactech.
Yes.
What's that?
So it's how to say that? It's on internet. It's like a library of all perfumes, raw materials. So we pass a lot of time to evaluate all the perfume of the market. And we smell them, and after we put this on our olfactech on internet. And so we classify the perfumes with family, facets, ingredients. And so if on each ingredient that it's written, you can click on it and you have the description of the ingredient, if it's a molecule, a natural, etc. And so it's like a database that we use for our trainings. Because it's very helpful to see some emergence of trends, because we can do advanced research on this database, and so we can also classify and do some filters, and so it permits us to let us emerge some trends. And this olfactech is open to the students when they come to study here. They have a 3 months free database, so they can consult it. And also for other people that do not train at Cinquieme Sens, they can pay 3 months, 1 year of access to the database.
Yeah, that's great. We will also leave the link to his database in the description notes, so that everyone could see whether they might need it or not. I believe that having databases with all the information you mentioned is very important. And, The only thing which I find interesting is that basically each company which tries to have their own, because of course not each company has it, but those who try, um, they try to find something special, like to make it a little bit different maybe from someone. And also, as you said, it's like with formulas, because they're not shared quite often. These databases might be different. And I also think that if you need to consult a database, you might be able to see like which one works best for you.
It exists a free database on internet, but in general, when you look at the description of perfumes, it's a description of the brand. It's the official description of the brand. So you have some information, but not a lot. And the specific of the specificity of Olfatec is that it's our own evaluation. So we smell everything, and we classify, and we give what we evaluate as ingredient inside each perfume. So it's there is more information sometimes compared to official information from
Yeah.
brands. Yeah.
And we could all imagine what's written in the official descriptions, like how close or far from the real description it might be.
Sometimes.
Right. And well, my last question about the Cinquieme Sens right now is something about Happy Nap program for the kids. It's something, it was totally new to me. I didn't see it ever in any other companies. What's that, and who is it for? Maybe somebody from our listeners are not planning to become perfumers, but maybe they want some special program for their kids.
Yes, it's specifically for the kids. So it's a trainer that we work for us. It's Leticia Navarro who did this training. She loves kids, and she proposed this. It's a workshop. So it's a workshop. So they smell some base, so citrus base, fruity base, and after they mix, they blend, and they do their own perfume. So it's very, very nice, very playful, and it's more like workshop. So it's for every kids. And she often organizes that with, for example, for a specific date, like a anniversary, or you have some mothers that they want to organize a workshop for the birthday of their kid, and so they invite all the kids for the birthday and the workshop. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds amazing. I mean, to me, it sounds amazing. I understand that we could make the whole episode from your own independent work as a perfumer, about your brand, about the perfumes you signed. I love the English version of saying it, like a perfumer signed a perfume. So are there something right now you're working on, and maybe after some time, maybe when this episode is live, we could share it to our listeners, and they might get some link to something interesting to find out about your work. So what's that right now, maybe, which is very close to your heart and you're working on, if there is something from for you as an independent perfumer as well?
Yeah, so in plus of Cinquième Sens, I have several lives. So I am trainer and perfumer at Cinquième Sens. I create perfumes for other brands as perfumer, and also I create my own brand to express freely my perfumes and my feelings about perfumes. So it's a new project for me, because I want to have this choice also. When you are independent perfumer and you formulate for others, it's very challenging. I love that because they always give you some brief, very exciting, and so it's challenging me because it's not going to be in my comfort zone, and it's very interesting. But sometimes the perfumes that you do, the client give you a direction, and so you go to this direction, and for you maybe at the end you have like little frustration in your creative process. And so I wanted to be free in this creative process. And so that's why I create my own brand to express myself also. Because when you are independent perfumer for other, you express the wish of the client. And it's very, very, I love it. And I wanted also to express my wishes. And
Exactly. We all have our wishes,
yes,
so there is nothing to be,
yes,
ashamed of. Or we just want other people's wishes to be like to come into life, but also for our own wishes
yeah.
to be there.
And it's connected also on the fact that I want to share my passion, like when I am trainer, and I want to with my brand Camille Leguay, it's the same name. I want to share my point of view of perfumery and how I live with perfume and how I feel when I wear perfume, and uh, I want to give this part of me and in my perfumes.
In my opinion, you do a great work. I haven't yet smelled anything, but the visuals you're using, and I understand how difficult it is to find visuals for the brand. I believe they give the idea. What is that about? Like, I have a feeling that they give this idea.
Yes. Yes,
Um,
the idea is to, for me, the perfume in my life, and when we spoke about my different struggling or my passion about perfumes, for me, I cannot live without perfumes, and it's my light, it's my flame, as you said, and for me, everybody has this light and this flame inside himself, and so for me, the perfume permits to connect yourself with this light. And so that's the story of my brands. It's to help you to connect to yourself with the perfumes, and because every perfumes give you emotions and specific emotions. So every perfume has a message, a benevolent message that can guide you also, and give you happiness and better well-being.
I love it, I will have to move to the Blitz question.
Yes.
Are you ready?
Okay, ready?
The first Blitz question. Which fragrance ingredient fascinates you the most? Oh, wonderful. Okay, I just also love Meteor. So, but I was asked by the perfumers never ask them this question because of this how to like choosing one child. It's impossible. But you've chosen Meteor. But maybe you could tell a little
Yeah.
bit. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I could have also confirmed that Camille right now gesticulates a lot because, like, of probably the extra feeling which she has. I mean, I just could look at her and see that she's like really into
Yeah.
these two. Right. So my next question: what scent takes you back to your childhood? Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do have
Because
some.
yeah.
No. Yeah, it's totally amazing. I remember this smell. I've been only once to the forest, on one of the islands in the Mediterranean,
Yeah.
not far from Cannes. Like you take a ferry and you go there. I forgot the name of the island, but it smelled so amazing. I mean, well, the difficult one. What's been the most rewarding project in your career so far? I believe. Right. And my last question is pretty simple, but pretty difficult for a trainer, I believe. Because what's maybe one book or resource you recommend to every perfumery student? So amazing. Like, it's amazing to have you. Thank you, Camille, for the interview and for your work.